When I did the art school, I have my specialization in painting. But in the middle of the studies, like I started trying with photography, objects. So I started to think about painting not as a technique per se, but more as a language that for me was more inspired in collage. So I like to think painting as a system where you have the wall, the person coming to the gallery, the canvas, but everything around, no? From the signature to the frame. I like to play with all those elements. When I try to rethink about geometrical abstraction, I think about putting together things that are not presented naturally in the society, together. Like, for example, geometry and forest. And for me, that idea of collage, it's also a way to break with the binaries and the divisions that we find in society mostly. Thinking about collage, in a lot of series I also do like smash up of aesthetics from different times. So in a picture you can have a background that is from a magazine from the 50s or 60s, and then the geometrical character that I use graphics from the 90s or the 80s, and then you have this collage of different aesthetics from different times, and that also make me think about what if it's part of an alternative universe? Yeah, the things are not in a human timeline, but more in a spiral way. Or so all this idea about multiverses, of course, come from science fiction. Even though I'm a fan of science fiction, I found that the mainstream is very male-dominated as art history, the same way that geometrical abstraction is male-dominated in history. So I wanted to think how my work can create an alternative universe where it's not the future, it's more about rethinking reality by exploding geometry as characters. My work is not about answers, it's more about making questions, like what if this mutant geometrical alien goes through a Disney landscape. When you have all the science fiction about dystopians and the end of the world and destruction, how can we think about something more solar punk? In that sense, I like to think my geometry or my paintings coming from a place of tenderness, softness, and all the things that are socially assigned to feminine or childish characteristics. The other day I was talking with another Argentinian artist, Marina de Caro. She told me we were talking about childhood and anti-adultism, what that also means for adults. And she says something like we should fight for our right to have a permanent childhood, not only a couple of years in your life. Because for me, childhood also refers to being emotionally open, to feelings, and because when you go through the scholar system, as you grow up, all the learning methods become harder and harder, you know. And I like that idea of, yes, like this aesthetics that I use is kind of a claim for a softness that we need to allow ourselves to be kids, basically. I think the problem now in terms of education is all the social media and the fake news and all the hate that start to rise mostly on social media, but that is also weaponized against minorities, like against queer people, against immigrants. I think we need education in the sense of fighting all this injustice, but also in a sense of creating community against all this hate. And it's definitely super important that institutions like become more political in terms of making a statement. I thought more about the title as a reply to all the transphobia that goes against trans community using biology as a statement, but actually nature and biology is the evidence that the binary is fake, you know, because you have intersex people, you have intersex animals, you have queer relationships in the animal kingdom. We always thought about also flora and fauna, but we also have fungi, you know, as another kingdom, and that's why a lot of the elements refer to mushrooms and fungi, because I like also the fungi as a non-binary icon. Nature is queer is thinking about science too.